If you can't find somebody on LinkedIn, doesn't mean that they're not on there, it just means that you can't find them because they're not in your sphere of influence. So generally we always target second degree connections. So your first degree connections, it's valuable. Those are people that are in your network, you need to have a good relationship with them. But the cool thing about LinkedIn is you can access all of their contacts, all of their second degree network. So it's almost like an implied referral. I often use the example of when I was selling real estate in Thailand and somebody would buy a villa off me and I would say to them, can you think of 2 or 3 people that would be interested in buying a villa in Thailand, and write down their name and phone number, and they'd think of a couple of people with a bit of money that like to go on holiday in Thailand or something, and I'd call them, and we would make sales that way. That was good. It was worthwhile me asking that question. Whereas these days, when I have a new client that's telling me how happy they are, and once I've got a testimonial from them, I don't say, can you think of 2 or 3 other business owners that would be interested in LinkedIn marketing? I said, by the way, I've looked at your LinkedIn connections. I'd really love an introduction to these 5 people, and I'd pick the ones that are in the ideal industry, the ideal decision makers, because they're not the people that he would think of off the top of mind, who probably don't have a need yet. They're probably his mates. I'm targeting the people specifically, whereas I can see their whole network on LinkedIn. So second degree connections are always extremely valuable. I think that most people grow their network by accepting connection requests rather than sending them. So I think they're doing it the wrong way around. They're never going to get a targeted network like that. And also adding people that like their content and follow their content, which has some value, but if you're not the one driving your audience, then you're going to end up getting quite a lot of different people, and it doesn't have to continue that way. When you've got 28,000 followers, which I think I've got something like that at the moment, 28,000. So I targeted financial advisors when I first started my business. So if I reach out to a financial advisor and he's got 1,000 connections, there's a good chance that we have at least 500 connections in common. So to him, he's thinking, geez, we know so many of the same people, because half of his network, I'm connected to. It's not because we know so many of the same people, it's because I target financial advisors and there's a good chance he's connected to a lot of them. You by default become like an industry leader when you do target an industry. So the other way is by producing content. So this is something that I see very few people do really well. But if you do produce content and it's valuable and solve the client's problem that they have, and you offer some sort of call to action, book in for a coaching call or download this thing for, you enter your details or whatever. It's a lot harder to do than it is to reach out to second degree connections. And then what you do when they accept a connection request is you just send them a message and basically ask for a meeting, So I think fundamentally you've got to be interested in having conversations with your potential clients before you do anything, and you've got to be I think it's a salesperson's tool. I really think that the reason that I was successful at LinkedIn marketing from the start is because I was in sales. I wasn't in marketing. I was hungry for leads. I wanted to make money. So I just found that the quickest way for me to get more leads than anyone else and more targeted leads was to become extremely effective at LinkedIn marketing and having more conversations than everyone else.